Welcome to my channel Mintage Mysteries, where every coin has a hidden story. If you love discovering hidden treasures and uncovering coin secrets, you're in the right place. We're on a quest to solve the puzzles behind the world's most fascinating coins. From rare errors to legendary rarities, let's dive into the mysteries of numismatics. The 2001 Lincoln penny continued a design tradition that stretched back almost a full century. Its origins were rooted in the early 1900s, when President Theodore Roosevelt urged a redesign of American coinage to elevate its artistic quality. To honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the United States Mint commissioned sculptor Victor David Brenner to create the cents obverse in 1909. Brenner based Lincoln's profile on a photograph taken by Matthew Brady, aiming to present the president with realism and dignity. By 2001, this portrait had become deeply embedded in American culture, so familiar that even its subtle details, Lincoln's forward gaze, the curve of the coat collar, and the initials VDB at the shoulder, were recognizable to millions. The reverse of the 2001 penny featured the Lincoln Memorial, a design first introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The Mint selected the design created by Frank Gasparo, who later became chief engraver of the Mint. Gasparo's composition centered on a carefully structured depiction of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., showing its columns in strict perspective, the central staircase, and even a tiny engraved figure of the seated Lincoln statue visible between the central columns. The inclusion of this miniature figure was deliberate, creating a symbolic unity between the obverse and reverse. Lincoln appears both as a portrait and as a memorialized statue, reflecting his lasting presence in American memory. The layout of the lettering around the memorial was arranged to balance the structure, with the national name arched above, the motto E pluribus unum positioned between the upper inscriptions, and the denomination at the bottom. The coin's composition in 2001 represented another chapter in its history. For more than 70 years, the penny had been made primarily from copper, but in 1982 the Mint drastically reduced copper content due to increased metal prices. As a result, the 2001 cent consisted of a core made of zinc, accounting for 97.5% of its mass, coated with a thin 2.5% layer of copper applied through electroplating. This gave the coin its familiar reddish appearance while making it significantly lighter than pre-1982 cents. The copper plating was extremely thin, measured in thousandths of an inch, which meant that if the surface were scratched deeply, the silver-colored zinc underneath could become visible. The shift to this composition also affected the coin's durability and behavior. Zinc-based cents were more likely to corrode if the plating was damaged, and they produced a different sound when dropped and a different magnetic and electrical response compared to earlier solid copper coins. Each 2001 penny was produced using modern high-speed coining presses at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Blank discs of zinc plated with copper were punched from large sheets of metal, then passed through an annealing process to soften them before striking. The blanks were washed, heated, and polished to remove residues and to prepare the surface for a clear imprint. The coining press applied several tons of pressure in a single strike, forcing the metal to flow into every crevice of the die, capturing the fine details of Lincoln's hair, facial contours, and the architectural lines of the memorial. Philadelphia coins bore no mint mark, while Denver coins carried a small D beneath the date. Both versions included the traditional mottos "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date on the obverse, and the inscriptions "United States of America," "E pluribus unum," and 1 cent on the reverse. Although the 2001 Lincoln cent was produced as a regular issue with no special commemorative purpose, it represented continuity in a series that had become the longest-running design in United States coinage. By this time, the coin stood as both a circulating tool of commerce and a small piece of American heritage. It connected daily life in 2001 to more than 90 years of history, art, and symbolism that had evolved around the nation's smallest denomination. Through its enduring design, historical symbolism, and the technological changes that shaped its composition, the 2001 Lincoln penny remained a reflection of the country's respect for Lincoln and its ongoing adaptation of coinage to the needs of each era. Collectors generally consider the 2001 Lincoln penny to be a common modern coin, but certain circumstances, minting issues, and grading conditions can make specific examples far more valuable than their ordinary face-value counterparts. Although millions of 2001 pennies were produced, rarity in the collectible sense does not depend on how many were minted overall, but rather on how few survive in exceptional condition or how few display unique errors. Most of the value associated with this year comes from uncirculated pieces, proof strikes, or coins that feature unusual minting mistakes that occurred during the production process. Value begins with condition. A 2001 penny found in circulation is almost always worth only 1 cent, but coins preserved from the day they were minted can reach much higher levels. Collectors evaluate every detail, judging the coin's luster, strike sharpness, and the absence of marks or scratches. Coins graded in the highest uncirculated category, often referred to as mint state levels, are much rarer than the billions of ordinary examples that entered circulation. These pristine pieces usually come from sealed bankrolls, coin sets, or private collections that handled the coins carefully. When a 2001 penny reaches the very top of the grading scale, it becomes desirable not because the date is rare, but because perfect or near-perfect examples are extremely hard to find. Buyers seeking flawless surfaces may pay significant premiums for such pieces. Proof coins from 2001 can bring higher values as well. These coins were specially struck for collectors using polished dies and highly reflective planchets. They were never intended to circulate and often display mirror-like fields and frosted details. Although proof coins are not rare by mintage, the finest pieces without any haze, spots, or imperfections become scarcer over time. Because they are judged by stricter standards, only a small fraction of proofs receive the highest possible grades. The difference of even a single grade point can drastically affect price, making the best preserved proofs the most valuable of their type. Another major category of value comes from minting errors. Since the 2001 penny was struck by high-speed presses, mistakes occasionally occurred, and some escaped detection. These errors create genuine rarity because no two flawed coins are exactly alike. Collectors often seek dramatic errors such as off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the blank was not aligned properly, double dies, where slight duplication of details appears due to a misalignment during die creation, and broadstrikes, where coins are minted without the retaining collar and spread outward beyond their normal diameter. A bold, easily visible error can turn an otherwise common penny into a coin worth many dollars. The more dramatic or unusual the flaw, the higher the value tends to be, especially if the coin remains in uncirculated condition. Rarity can also emerge from die deterioration or die polishing events. If a die was over-polished, certain design elements might appear faint or missing. Although these varieties are not always as valuable as major errors, they appeal to collectors who specialize in tracking subtle die characteristics. Coins with crisp die doubling or distinctive die cracks can become sought after within specialized communities, contributing to higher values from collectors who recognize their uniqueness. Another factor influencing value is the presence of early die state coins. When a new die is first used, the resulting coins show the sharpest and most detailed impressions. These coins can carry higher premiums because they display the design exactly as intended, with minute details fully struck. Early die state examples from 2001 are not extremely rare, but identifying one in perfect preservation can create a premium above typical uncirculated examples. Packaging and origin also affect rarity. Coins from mint sets remain better preserved and often display superior striking quality compared to those found in everyday change. Even though mint sets were widely sold, few have survived untouched, and sets that remain sealed or well protected can yield coins that earn high grades. As higher grade examples become increasingly difficult to locate, their value gradually rises. The overall rarity and high values associated with the 2001 Lincoln penny do not come from the date itself, but from the combination of extraordinary preservation, special production types, and minting abnormalities. When a 2001 penny displays perfect surfaces, a rare error, or signs of superb striking quality, it steps out of the realm of common currency and into the world of sought-after collectibles. For collectors, the challenge lies in recognizing which coins are ordinary and which examples possess the subtle or dramatic qualities that can make a modern penny unexpectedly valuable. If you enjoyed today's exploration, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin discoveries, and share this video with fellow collectors. And as always, keep searching for those hidden treasures in your change. You never know when you might stumble upon the next big mystery.